So first thing I want to mention is on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see the Go to Webinar control panel. That's where you can drop in questions to me. And you can also find a chat a box there on that control panel where you can chat with other people here in the webinar. So if you do have some ideas that you want to share or ask other people for ideas, that's where you guys can interact with each other as we go through today's content that's all about how to reduce those monthly cancellations, reduce churn. So I see we got some comments coming in right now. Let me know, Max, if you can hear all right. You might have sent in that comment before the mic was turned back on. So let me know. Otherwise, the only other things I want to point out to you guys, if you haven't checked these out before, make sure to check out these resources. Obviously, Subscription School is a great place to get a lot of good resources for your subscription business, not just for customer service and churn stuff, but also for marketing and for shipping and fulfillment and for entrepreneurship, just anything that you can really need to know to run these types of businesses. You should be able to find an article on Subscription School about it. Also, I want to point out we have a Facebook group for Subscription School. So hop onto Facebook and find our group, and you can request to join this. And it's an awesome community. We've got almost 800 people in this group. All the time, people are helping each other with different ideas and talking about their startup ideas and helping each other with their launch and giving each other free feedback. So if you want to get involved in a community of people who are working with these types of businesses and sharing ideas, this is a great place to start. So you just find this group on Facebook and then request to join, and then you will get approved probably within just a couple minutes. Okay, great. Let's jump right into this now. And also, just one more last piece of housekeeping too. This whole thing will be recorded, so you'll be able to rewatch this webinar. It'll be on our YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/subscription school, and it'll also be in the video section on the Subscription School website. So you'll be able to rewatch this, including the Q&A at the end. All right. Okay, so how to reduce subscriber churn? My name is Jesse Richardson. You can learn more about me at my blog. It's just jesserichardson.com. That's me on the left. I've worked with a lot of different subscription businesses before, a couple of content sites, and now I'm running one business and working with Cratejoy, helping build the platform better and better educate the merchants who are using the platform. Overview of today, we're going to be exploring both proactive and reactive churn reduction strategies. So what that means is we'll be looking at it in a way of how to prevent churn, but also when churn starts happening, how you can get those people back and kind of build the experience better so you can kind of react to problems that you have and address those for your customers. We'll also be emphasizing customer service and life cycle of the customer in this. It's important to understand where your kind of peak churn points are during the customer journey of a subscription product, and so we'll be talking a little bit about that. And you're also going to be provided with a short little action item list to do to get you started on reducing your churn. Okay, so I like to start this webinar with just a kind of a nod to the mentality you should have going into thinking about churn and customer experience. So I'll just leave this up here and I'll let you read it to yourself for a moment. So for those of you just listening in, the quote says, "The best acts of customer service are the tiny things that reinforce the customer's loyalty. They can be done daily, usually without any cost, and can foster customer retention, increase customer satisfaction, and even grow your customer base." I really like this quote because it focuses on a couple different things. Number one, it really shows you, or it attempts to illustrate to you that it can be the small things that you do with customers in customer interactions versus getting a product, for example, and going through checkout, for example, or converting with an opt-in or something. It's really other tiny things, a part of the relationship you have with your customers that's more on a daily basis or when they're interacting with you that can lead to a lot of good things like higher retention, improved customer satisfaction, and referrals. And so going into it, think when you're thinking about churn and reducing your churn, really realize you've got to put yourself in that mentality that you want to do those tiny things and you want to do them very, very well, because you know that those are the things that ultimately will improve customer experience and customer satisfaction, that to a point that reduces churn. So I guess, get excited and look forward to kind of working through the minutia of customer service. It feels like minutia, but there are ways that you can speed these things up so it's not as arduous of a task. And also, as you work through this, kind of have that that light at the end of the tunnel. You're doing these things that may feel like minutia, but in reality, these are the things that are fostering strong customer loyalty. So one of the things to help speed this whole process up is using a third-party customer service platform. So the step one of this webinar is, before you start, you've got to check out something like Zendesk, Helpdesk. There are a lot of different tools. I personally use Zendesk, so that's what you see on the left-hand side of the screen here. What this does is it basically pulls all your emails and your social media tweets and Facebook messages, etc., and it pulls it all into one platform. So rather than working through your Gmail inbox or something like that, you're actually working through a third-party platform that's organizing things in a little bit better of a way. And we'll explain a little bit more about this later. But check this out. It's easy to connect it to your domain. So you can have support at jesse.com, and those tickets will be sent, or emails, I call them tickets, will be sent into this program. You'll now receive those emails in Zendesk, and you can connect a bunch of different, any other place where you might have support channels. So make that note, circle it, bold it, whatever it is you need to do to make a point to check that stuff out. So let's kind of step back for a second and really ask, what is churn? We've talked, we said that word retention, that was in that quote earlier, but what is that? And why does this really matter? Let's start from the top here. So churn or churn rate is sometimes what it's called, or attrition. It's also called attrition. Is the percentage rate at which customers stop subscribing. So it can be calculated differently, whether it's annually or monthly. Traditionally with a monthly subscription business, you'll calculate it on a monthly basis. So every 30 days, you'll take a look at your churn, and you can see how many customers cancel based on the percentage rate of churn you have. For example, if you have 100 subscribers and you churn 12 one month, your churn rate is 12%. Then you have to find 12 additional customers to kind of reach back to that 100. And so the churn rate, you can see it's this slow kind of trickle. We have an infographic which is actually going to be available to download in this webinar, of kind of like a bucket full of water, right? And there's these holes in this bucket, and obviously not all the water is being poured out, but there's a steady stream. And so churn is that steady stream of you losing customers. Retention is the flip side of that. It's the inverse of churn. It's the percentage rate at which customers continue subscribing to your business. So really these mean the same thing. If you have 12% churn, you have 88% retention. So why does this matter? It's because churn is the biggest threat to your business, especially as a subscription business. This is what defines the success of your product, basically, especially in the eyes of someone who's looking to acquire your business or invest money into it. Churn is kind of this core metric that really drives a lot of decision making. The higher churn you have, the fewer customers you have, obviously less revenue, but more importantly, the harder you have to work to grow. Like we said earlier, if you lost 12 subscribers and you had 100, you have to find 12 additional subscribers just to get back to 100. If you want to grow past 100, you have to get more than that 12. So if you want to grow by 10% or so, you've got to actually find like 20, 22 customers, and then you have some decent growth that month. So churn rate is going to be something that you have to always overcome and then surpass if you want to have a continuously growing business, which is probably, that's the idea. What is a good churn rate then? I see good or best churn rates between 5 and 15%. It's a pretty big range. To give you a sense of what's possible, it was reported that BarkBox is a very large pet subscription box. They also have some cool pet health app stuff going on. They've got Bark Post. They've got a hilarious Instagram full of cute doggy pictures. Anyways, they I reference them because I believe in their first year they had churn at 4%, I believe, or it may have been 5% is what they reported. And they were at scale. I think they had tens of thousands of customers at that time, and that's really good. A churn rate of 5% is incredible. I think from what I've seen, from the exposure I've seen on the industry at large, what is kind of normal is something more around 8, 10, maybe low teens like 13 or 10 to 13 or so. Those are all pretty good and pretty regular. It's kind of between that 8 and 12% churn rate. Obviously, if you have 1% churn rate, you're doing phenomenal. But we just don't see that often. So I wanted to have the range of good to best kind of be something more realistic and achievable, with 5% kind of being that kind of, I would say kind of golden standard. When you're passing 15% and you're at 16%, 20% churn, that means you're losing 1 in every 5 customers, basically, 1 in every 6 customers. That's a lot of customers to be losing. And so it's not necessarily time to jump ship, but it's definitely time to start doing some creative planning and thinking about how you can reduce churn both proactive and reactively. And I mean, at this, you might all of a sudden hit 18% churn on a month and be like, oh crap, Jesse, what should I do? If you only have 100 customers with your business, that's really only 2 or 3 more customers than being at 15%. So it may be for maybe a lot of cards failed that month, or something like that. So I wouldn't panic if I were you, is basically what I'm saying. But start to really approach the problem with a clear sense of mind and a clear way for you to actually approach and address the problem. If you're looking at churn over 20%, that's definitely in the bad range. So again, there might be some reasonable reasons why this happened. Especially if you're at a smaller level of the business and 10 cards failed, you only had 50 customers. So there might be some other good reasons for this. But if you're looking at 20% monthly churn and it starts to go on for 2, 3, 5, 8 months, there's something potentially crucially wrong with the way that the business is being run. It might be too high of a price point. It might be just your product offering actually isn't very compelling when subscribers receive it. Or it might be more of a systemic issue that you need to identify. Maybe it's a really poor product experience, and you're just not choosing the right items for your target audience. Or maybe the way you're approaching your marketing is wrong, and you're acquiring the wrong types of customers. And so when you have a churn at that rate, it's something that you really need to address as quickly as possible. And I'll just say here too, no one is immune to these things. I've had the worst month ever, and I've been doing this for about 6 years. I had a churn at about 21% one month. It was really terrible. I can happily say it's never been near that high before. There's kind of an outlier case, but I mean it happens sometimes. So just want to illustrate it. It's completely plausible to happen to your business, even if you're doing a lot of good things. So how do we address this? And let me just see here. Looks like we've got a couple more people here too. So if you just joined, let me just note again, on the right-hand side, you've got that GoToWebinar control panel. So as we work through this stuff, feel free to ask me questions. We will have a Q&A session at the end. And also, I want to make sure you guys know this too. On the right-hand side, you'll also see a handout section on that control panel. And there's a churn infographic that you can download. That's a pretty short infographic we threw together over at Subscription School. Okay, let's get back into this. All right, so we're gonna approach a couple different methods to how to address churn. The first one is a proactive method, and proactive meaning before you even have the churn happen, how are we going to make sure that it doesn't happen? So the first method is setting a good foundation, and I think this is really important to cover, since sometimes it's something that we can look over, or the kind of the curse of knowledge kind of prevents us from really working through in a really intelligent way. What setting a good foundation means is setting good customer expectations. And this is, I think, something a lot of people struggle with, especially if they're first-time marketers, because you're focused 100% of the time on how can I get people to click that checkout button, right? It's all about sales. It's all about dollars. How can I get people to buy more things? Having people buy things is one part of it. Having people buy things with a reasonable expectation of what that thing is actually going to be is another thing, especially when you're curating an experience like a subscription box. So you really need to step back and ask yourself, how are you selling and how are you spelling out your product offering, the retail value, the other value propositions, whether it's discovery, it's uniqueness, it's exclusive products of some type. What is it that you're spelling out to customers that are making them check out, and how are you actually following through with your boxes? If you're already started, take a look back. Look back at some of your past boxes. Did you meet expectations for customers? Did customers have good feedback for you? And consider the following test. When a customer churns, send them a survey to complete. Ask them about what makes them cancel, how the service can be improved, what they thought about the experience. Have this option for customers that once they do cancel, they are allowed to give you more feedback without maybe having to send it to you over email, through a customer service exchange, or something like that. Currently in Craigjoy, it's pretty sweet. When a customer cancels in their account, they have to choose the reason. I think that's great. But if you want to get more information from them, have a little bit more of a survey, maybe get them to answer a couple different questions, then definitely consider creating like an email automation. So once someone gets canceled, they get put into a specific list in MailChimp, and then that list gets this survey right away, and then maybe 2 weeks later they get a remarketed coupon, and then 2 weeks later they get another remarketed coupon or something like that. So you can put them in their own little email funnel. And if you want to do something like that, check out these tools, SurveyMonkey or Wufoo. Those are both good tools for creating surveys. Typeform is another good one. You can also just use Google surveys. There's a lot of different options for that. Method number 2. So it's still a kind of a proactive, but this is kind of getting into the reactive stuff, since you might respond to someone who is emailing you maybe a cancellation request or something like that. Same-day customer service is super, super important. Speed of response is critical. So Forrester Research, little known research company, found that 41% of consumers, that's almost half, that's basically all of your customers, expect a reply to email within 6 hours. So basically 50% of your customers are going to want a quick reply if they do email you. So, really let that sink in. Within 6 hours, that means, you need to, having a full-time support team, if that's not in your wheelhouse and it's not something that you can do right now, then maybe it's a matter of putting an alarm, and in 2-hour intervals, you always go to your customer service and you work through those emails you might have received. Because that's important to a lot of people, by meeting that expectation of theirs, their kind of inherent expectation, that's going to make them much happier. And that's going to boost their satisfaction, which boosts their loyalty. What I thought was also interesting is, in the same study, 32% of customers expected a response in social media within 30 minutes. This is just crazy to me. But because, it's just be so hard to be watching your Twitter, your Pinterest, your Instagram, your Facebook all at the same time, and then, hitting these people within 30 minutes, it's definitely a hard task, especially if you don't have a built-out team. But it's still important to realize, customers want to have a response quickly because they want to feel like they're being listened to, because they're, investing their dollars into experience that you're providing them. So this sounds nice, right, Jesse? Sure. But how do I actually do it? Some ways that you could do this is by using macros, filters, triggers, and automations. So let's pause really quick. We talked about Zendesk before. Macros, triggers, automations, and filters will all be available through something like Zendesk. So what are these things? Macros are pre-made responses. So they act as a template for an email. So for example, if you have someone writing in to get help with cancellation, or you have someone writing in to ask about the cutoff date, or something like that, you can have preset answers. So it's a one-click. You click this button, and it's the shipping question macro, and it immediately drops in and says, hey Jesse, comma, space, our box ships on the 25th of this month, period. If you have any other questions, please let me know, smiley face. It's like this automatic, line of text that gets immediately dropped in your emails. So no more typing out emails. You're just clicking. It's just kind of like click and play. those macros are super helpful. There's really great things called placeholders, which you can put in your macros that automatically pull people's names in, emails, dates, times, stuff like that. Filters are really useful as well. These might be called views now, I believe, in Zendesk. They might have changed the name from filters to views. Filters might be used in some other platforms as well. But whether you're using filters or views, whatever your platform calls it, what these are is basically folders. It's a way to organize emails and social media requests based on specific attributes, like what words are contained in the messages, or when were they received, or what's the status of the ticket? Is it pending? Is it open? Is it closed? Anything like that. So, for example, with a filter, you could create a filter that says high priority emails, and it's all the emails that were sent to you within the last 6 hours. And then you could create a filter that says high priority social media responses, and it's all the social media responses that were sent to you within the last 30 minutes. And you could create these filters or these views in your Zendesk. And then when you log into Zendesk, you can click this view, and you can see all of those things that you need to address in that view. So those are really, really useful. If you want to separate all of your email types into different views, you can have endless amount of these filters, and by using these filters, you can greatly increase the efficiency of your support team, if you do support yourself. Automations triggers also very helpful. Automations modify tickets properties, and remember, like I said earlier, I call a ticket an email a ticket. It modifies an email's properties at a specific time after that ticket's been updated. So, for example, if you solve a request, it's marked as solved. That's the ticket status. One of the automations you can use is you can mark it as closed if it's been solved for at least 4 days. So at that point, it's no longer in your recently solved filter, and so it's a little bit, it's like kind of more kind of archived away, basically. So it's an automation. So it keeps your Zendesk looking nice and neat and organized. So you don't see all those old emails, but you also didn't delete them. Triggers are similar. They take action when a ticket's been created or updated. So for example, one useful trigger is as soon as someone emails you, you have a trigger that immediately emails them back and says, hey, we have received your response. So that's nice because that addresses one of the things that Forrester research is pointing out, that customers want to feel like they've been listened to. So by creating a quick trigger that says, hey, we've received your message, please give us at least 6 hours or 30 minutes if this is through something else, then you can immediately make that that touch with them, let them know that it's been received, maybe give them a couple links to some self-help things, and ultimately give them a better experience. So building these things out are both, it's going to go two things really. It's going to be proactively better because you're going to be giving people a better experience in terms of standardization of replies, quickness of replies, and things like these triggers of receiving requests. They're going to feel like they're better taken care of. So that's a proactive measure right there, right? It's going to make them feel better, which is going to reduce the likelihood of them going to cancel because they could email you for some other reason besides canceling. But it's also a good reactive measure too. So when someone is emailing you because they want to cancel and they need help with the cancellation process, they're immediately feeling like they're getting a better experience. And that experience might be something that will get them to say, hey, actually, that support team was awesome. Like Jesse was really nice, and I got my question answered within like 2 hours, and they got a cancellation and a refund set up for me. It was the easiest time I've ever had to deal with customer service. I actually kind of want to keep this company's product. So it's also a reactive strategy. So a little bit more on these macros, single click replies. This is going to increase reply time speed. Filters also going to greatly increase reply time speed. Some suggested views I have is high priority tickets, which are tickets over 24 hours old. I call these high priority tickets in this view because if they're over 24 hours old, you really, really need to do them. Low priority tickets, under 24 hours old, you could create these same ones, something different with a 6-hour thing, whatever you'd wanted. Cancel related tickets, you have a view that says all emails that come in with the word cancel, refund, or close account all get put into this view. Triggers, improving customer experience. Automations, improving agent experience, keeping Zendesk clean. And so each one of these things is important to kind of go through. if you want to add efficiency, if you want to improve customer experience, and you want to improve your workforce or your own experience. Also, there's this optimized email support article on Subscription School. And it goes in a little bit more detail. So I talk about some specific ways to set up these filters and views, some prompts, triggers and automations. I went into a little bit more detail than what we just went through. And it's a useful guide, and that's just in the customer service section of Subscription School. Okay. So method number 3. Still proactive and reactive. Superior customer service. So it's not just enough to reply quickly and to have these cool triggers and automation set up, but you also want to provide experience that makes the customer feel valued and like they have made the right purchasing decision. So some tips here are, for example, avoiding negative words or slang words. So, people don't like to hear the words no or unfortunately, or anything like that. We are beings who want to be pleased. But you sometimes need to tell them that. But there could be a better way of saying it. Like, at this time, our bonus box is out of stock. Well, rather than saying, hey, if someone said, do you have any bonus boxes left, and you just emailed them back, no, thanks for emailing, and that was it, then I think they would kind of read that and be like, wow, that was really short of them to talk to me like that. It's maybe they wanted to hear it. At this time we don't have any more, but we could have some more next month. Or you could have given them a little bit better of an experience where it felt like they were handled nicer. And so think about the words you're using, and how you're actually communicating with your customers. Avoid slang words too. No gonna or shoulda, or don't use lowercase. Make sure everything's properly punctuated. Make sure you have the right kind of tonality about your writing that gives people a good experience. Some other examples of what I mean here is with replacements. And this is something I get questioned about a lot. People are like, well, I sent a box, and my candle broke in it, but I'm pretty sure the customer could still use the candle. But they emailed me and they said that they were unhappy about it. Like, do I really need to send them a brand new candle? But I tell the business owners who ask me, and I'm like, I would just send them a full replacement box. Like, send them an entirely new box and say, oh my gosh, we're so sorry for the poor experience. If you want to return your old box, feel free to. If not, please keep the items inside, or give them to a loved one, and send them a full replacement. That I've seen on literally hundreds of instances solicits an amazing response from your customer. Your customer is immediately like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you guys. I love you guys so much. I've been telling all my friends and family about you, blah, 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 blah. If you take a poor experience, when you've probably been there yourself as a customer, where you got into this purchasing decision, right? And then something wasn't right. And then you went to the business, and you think in your head, you're like, oh crap, I got to talk to some customer service person. I'm upset. Are they going to give me my refund? Are they going to give me my new product? I hope I don't have to deal with this total, crap experience. And then I get kind of, I get screwed over in the end. I hope I don't have this terrible experience. That's what we're telling ourselves when we're customers. We're like, oh man, we're dreading this conversation, right? If you as a customer was dreading that conversation, and then that customer service person said to you, oh my gosh, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me send you a brand new product for free. And you can keep all the other products, even if they're not broken. Let me just send you a brand new one. We really value you as a customer, and we're sorry for the subpar experience. You'd be like, all right, this is awesome. This is my favorite company. And you'd probably be telling people about that experience too. So if a product is broken, I suggest sending a full replacement. That's what I mean when I say superior customer service. Give them the type of customer service you want to have yourself as a customer. Another example, if a box is accidentally sent. So sometimes you might, let's say you're working through your Zendesk. It's 11:30 at night. You just had a huge long day. You've been talking to vendors all day. Someone says, oh, I want to cancel my May box. And so you cancel them. But you refund them, but you forget to cancel the order inside Cratejoy. It's totally realistic. This will probably happen to you at some point or another, where you actually forget to cancel the order in your shipments section, and so you accidentally send them a box. So they might reach out to you and be like, hey, I got this box. I thought I said I wanted to cancel. You better not have charged me for this. And so you look in their account, you're like, oh, we didn't charge you. We actually processed a refund to you. So, here's the receipt of that. Sometimes you might feel compelled, like, oh, well, they shouldn't get the box if they didn't pay for it. But it's the same thing as above. This customer goes into it with this feeling of anger or disappointment because they think that they might have been charged, or their directions weren't followed, and so they're dreading going in this conversation because there's some problem basically. And then you can turn the situation around and say, hey, our mistake. This actually, you weren't charged for this, or if you were, and you didn't process the refund, for example, refund them, and then say, we'd love to have you keep the box, no charge. It's our mistake. Sorry I gave you this subpar experience, and we want you to have an awesome time. We're supposed to be a monthly surprise of enjoyment and happiness. So please keep this box. And that person has the same experience where they're like, oh, well, I did not expect that, So superior customer service, these small little adjustments in mentality and the way you think about what's worth it to your customers can make customers become extremely loyal, and it can make people who are canceling really second guess their cancellation and probably sign up again, if not immediately sign up after that experience. I've had on several occasions been chatting with the customer either on the phone or over email, and done that that extra couple steps to give someone a great experience, and they have been like, what, actually, let's keep this account open. Like, sorry to just waste your time, but you guys are, I just love what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate how well you guys are taking care of me. Like, I've heard that on multiple occasions. So think about this in terms of kind of a penny saved is a penny earned. The better you do your customer service, the better retention you're going to have. That stickiness of customers, they're going to be more sticky the better they're handled. So method number 4. And this is a reactive measure now. So we've kind of gone from the proactive stuff to now back to the reactive stuff. Let's say 1 month you did have 25% churn. You can still get those customers back. In your email account, something like MailChimp, if you haven't checked out MailChimp, or if you don't have an email marketing tool, I definitely suggest looking at MailChimp. It's a place where you upload your emails, and then you're able to email all those people one single email. Make a list, call it canceled subscribers. In that canceled subscriber list, what you should do is, create you can either do one-off campaigns. So, you're really feeling inspired because it's, Monday and you want to send out a campaign tomorrow. You do this tonight. You could send out an exclusive email, a cancellation email, or not a cancellation email, excuse me, an exclusive email to people who have canceled, and give them an extra 5% off than what you normally market to new subscribers, or something like that. And you remarket to those churned subscribers, and that becomes a source of ongoing remarketing. It's a source of people you market to, every month. But it's also, a place where you can build in like a workflow, an automation in MailChimp. It's called automation in MailChimp, different from an automation in Zendesk. Automations in MailChimp is like a welcome email. They get added to the list. They get that email. We talked about it kind of with surveying customers after they've churned. You rebuild that into this process. So once they churn, they automatically get sent that survey, and then they automatically get sent 2 weeks later that coupon, and then 2 weeks after that other coupon. That'd be another form of remarketing it versus a one-off campaign. If you want to look at your canceled subscribers, you can go to your subscriptions in your Cratejoy dashboard, filtered by canceled, and then you can export that filter and play around with that data. And I believe that the MailChimp integration between Cratejoy and MailChimp, obviously, has gotten a lot better. So I don't think you need to actually upload the canceled list to your MailChimp anymore. You can just connect it to a list, and it'll automatically do it for you. So if you want to learn more about that, just Google MailChimp Cratejoy integration, and there's probably some announcements about that. But you can do it the old-fashioned way too, where you just download the filtered subscriptions, and then you upload that email list to your MailChimp. You can also put this list into its own remarketing funnel. We talked about that. An automation workflow in MailChimp is what we just chatted about in terms of having emails automatically sent to people. Method number 5 is a completely proactive approach. A way to do this is to use teasers and spoilers. So people love the surprise of monthly subscriptions, but giving them an idea of what they're going to be getting goes a super long way, especially for people who are like, oh, I don't know if I want this month's box. I'm kind of thinking about canceling because of whatever reason. What I like to do is once a month choose 1 or 2 of my higher value items and then create some like beautiful ad that intrigues people and say, hey, this month you're getting this type of product. This is going to be one of these is going to be in every single box. And so it's a really cool way to tease some of the information, some of the products that are going to be coming up. And then if you're choosing one of your higher value items, if it looks great to people, then people can be like, oh man, I'm so excited for this month. I'm definitely not going to cancel. So this is going to proactively prevent people from canceling. And also, I mean, there is a kind of a reactive element to this too. The people who have canceled, they can then see what's coming in the next box, and if they really like it and they know how good your boxes are normally, that might be just enough motivation to get them to re-sign up, which doesn't really reduce churn, but it restarts that customer's lifetime, the customer's length of their subscription. So you can use these teasers in emails. You can use them on social media. You can drop them into your customer service macros. So when people are canceling, they're emailing for some help, and you're like, okay, yeah, let me help you out. By the way, here's a sneak peek for June's box. You should probably check this out before you cancel. However you want to use them creatively, whether that's using it in marketing in a closed environment like customer service, or using it in marketing on social media and through email marketing. You can use these all over the place. You can also drop them in, for example, into your box too. So you could always print off a sneak peek for the next box and put that into your current month's box to kind of intrigue people early on for that next delivery. So here's some more examples of some teaser pages that I think are really cool. This is a business called Yogi Surprise. This is obviously the same from this one too. This is the director of marketing previously at Cratejoy was a gentleman named Jameson Morris, and this is his business. I worked with him on a couple businesses before this, and he is an awesome designer, this guy Matt, and he just kills these designs. I just think they're so good. I just think they just look so awesome. Look at this little girl like peeking over the counter here. It's just hilarious. But you can see how you can do this. I mean, you can have like a teaser landing page where you have pictures of your box with some stuff hanging out from it, the jewelry, the face mask, or you can put it in email marketing. That's what you see on the right. That's a screenshot from within an email. So you can do this in a couple different ways, and I think these are some good examples of how to see that. Oh, what I just noticed here too is if you look on this first teaser example in the bottom right of this first one, you see that gray help button right there? That is the Zendesk little help button, and what that does is on your site it offers a little email field, and that's one of the other nice things about the customer experience benefit of working with a third-party platform is, and I'll show you what it looks like on my site currently. You can see here the little help button in the bottom right. Makes it really easy for customers to contact you. So check that out if you're still looking for some reasons to try one of these third-party platforms. Okay, method number 6. We talked about this before, but it's about surveying customers. I just want to spend a little bit more time kind of talking through this and how you would do it. Surveying customers is really important because you get your best feedback from unhappy people. You don't get your best feedback from happy people because they love it. You want to get a feedback that you can use to change the way you're doing business. So like we talked about, Wufoo, Typeform, Google Survey, SurveyMonkey, choose one of these and ask some questions. And you can make these detailed. So for example, you can say, how would you rate this product and why? If you want to go into granular level on each item that you chose. Do you want to see this product you like product? Would you like to see it again? Did you like this product? Would you like to see more items like this or fewer items like this? You can ask some, general questions like that about the products. You can ask them bigger questions like overall, how would you rate this month's box? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being best, or 10 being most likely, how likely are you to recommend this month's box to a friend or colleague? And then you could start to gather net promoter score information from people. You can start to gather feedback on products from your subscribers, and you can give that feedback back to your suppliers, which is really interesting. And you can make better purchasing and curation decisions based on this feedback. Surveying customers is also something that we are astutely aware of the benefit at Cratejoy, and I don't think that we have built surveys in for the type of surveys that we're talking about here, but we have been building a kind of a survey effort where you're getting more information from subscribers at different points. And what I'm describing right now may be available through Cratejoy relatively soon, and it's going to really empower you to make smarter decisions around your business. So we talked about 6 different methods here, and kind of how they play into reducing churn. So, here's our kind of, in every webinar, we look at Shyla here, and we have to ask ourselves, what are we waiting for? It's time to just do it. Time to implement some of these things. And so one of the things I want you to do, it's May 16th, so on May 23rd, can't believe it's already May 20th. It's already in the middle of May here. I would like you to send out an email. So at this point, in 1 week, create a Zendesk account. It's free for the first 30 days, so you don't have to worry anything about spending any money there. Create some views, play with some macros, do some basic triggers and automations, get familiar with how it feels. Also, in MailChimp, if you haven't signed up for MailChimp, sign up for MailChimp, and then in MailChimp, create a canceled list, and then either link that with your Cratejoy or upload your canceled subscribers to it, and send out a come back and save email to your canceled list. So maybe use that subject line, come back and save, and design a nice little email that has a good incentive. Maybe it's 15% off, the first box or something like that after they've re-signed up. So, and send out some incentive to them. And, you can just next Monday, you can schedule the email next Monday and then have it sent out for next Tuesday. Generally, Tuesday is a little bit better of a day to send emails. But, whatever it is, make the point to execute on your MailChimp list, execute on your Zendesk account and getting familiar with what we talked about earlier, and then make a point to schedule that email and to design it and to see how many customers you can actually pull from your canceled list. So at this point, we'll do some Q&A. I know we've got some questions up already. I'm going to leave out these action item reminders here to kind of be in the background. So let's go ahead and jump into these questions. And so if you have any questions about anything that we covered, now's the time to ask them. I'm going to start off just addressing the questions focused on churn. If you have questions about other things, feel free to drop them in here, but we'll focus on the last 15 minutes here on just churn questions. So what are some good software choices to create custom quizzes to learn what your customers want to see? This is a great question, Rose. And Cratejoy actually is going to be the best software option. Cratejoy just added sort of made 2 announcements. One announcement is the newly designed subscribe flow in the subscription product page. And one of the reasons why it's newly designed is because it has a new element to it. And that new element is the ability to survey customers during checkout. So Rose, if you want to be surveying customers, you can have them choose between variants, which are predefined options for a person to choose. So for example, if you have a t-shirt subscription, you might have small, medium, and large variants, and they can choose their size. If you're doing something more like a diet box or something like that, and you want to find out what their diet is like, then you can ask that survey question and say, what diet do you follow? And then those people can drop in answers that aren't predefined. So, examples that might be a non-predefined option would be like a diet, so gluten-free versus raw versus vegan versus paleo versus, et cetera, et cetera. Or birthday, like what's your birthday? You can ask someone that survey question. It's going to be different for everybody, but you can survey people in the checkout process using using Cratejoy. If you want to survey people afterwards, I would say any of the software that we mentioned earlier. Typeform is really cool looking. Wufoo, SurveyMonkey. Okay, did you launch Escape Monthly with both size books, excuse me, or did you add on the larger box or smaller box a few months into launching the business? We started Escape Monthly with one box size, the normal box size, the kind of medium, and then we launched a Luxe and a mini version. I think about 6 or 7 months in. I don't really recall. Are there any other survey subscriptions able to be integrated with the Cratejoy platform? No, not besides the ones that I just mentioned. Like I said, check out the new subscribe flow on Cratejoy. There's a survey option there, so that should give you the option to basically do whatever you need. It's open ended, so you should be able to grab basically any information using that one. If you're looking for something specific, let me know and I'll see if I can change that answer for you. How often do customers actually complete surveys? It's a good question. What are tips for making customers want to complete a survey? Those are two really good questions. So let me address the first one first. And you know what? Actually, I'll answer these questions, and then actually want to ask you guys a couple of questions because we got some good questions rolling in, and you kind of got my juices flowing here too. So, how often do customers actually complete surveys? So the biggest scale I've seen this before, I actually have firsthand knowledge, was with Conscious Box. And so we were doing tens of thousands of shipments each month. And one of the things that we did, and this is kind of addresses both questions here, is we incentivize people to complete surveys to get points for our marketplace, and then people can use those points for real discounts. So for example, you would get 10 points an answer, and every 10 points is basically 10 cents. And so you could create after 6 months or so, you have 6,000 points or something crazy like that. You got $60 in gift cards that you can basically spend on this marketplace. So that's how we incentivized it. And what we saw then, because we obviously had to be doing math to make sure we weren't giving away too much money, is it was something like, I want to say 19% of people were actually doing the surveys. Another thing to keep in mind is, those surveys were done after they received the boxes, and so we had to work to get them back to their account page and get them to go fill out the surveys and to give us that information. So for example, with the survey during checkout that we were talking about earlier, 100% of people would answer those questions, or choose to leave those questions blank because it's going to be required once they've completed that purchase. So that survey will get a lot more answers than than a survey request that's sent out days or weeks after they've received the box. So I think about 20% is where that was at. If you don't have a marketplace, you don't have points to kind of incentivize people, maybe it's a bonus in their next box. Maybe it is a $2 coupon. It's an extra 5% off their next box or something like that. And you keep track of that by when you're creating a survey. You can ask them at the beginning of the survey, what's your subscription number? And the subscription number is something that they can find on Cratejoy very easily. They just log in their account and it says subscription number 4116382 or whatever it is. And they can drop that in, and then when you export your answers for that survey, you know exactly which customers and which subscriptions to give a discount to. So it's very easily to track that type of stuff. So get creative with your incentives. I want to ask you something. What churn rate are you experiencing? So I'll leave this up for just about a couple minutes here, and we got some more questions, and I'm going to have 2 more questions for you, but we'll get through these ones pretty quickly. Let's leave this up here for just a few more seconds. If you have not voted yet, please do so. I want to know more about your churn status. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Looks like most people are experiencing 16% or higher. So we got a nice spread though. I mean, awesome job for those of you who are doing between 1% and 5%. That's impressive. Um, Let me ask you this too. What do you believe the source of your churn to be? So failing cards, when I say that, I mean like when you were doing renewals each month, um, some people's cards will just fail, right? It's not like they canceled, but that you can't recharge, you can't rebuild them, you can't renew them because their card expired or didn't have enough money on it or something like that, and you can't collect that revenue, and so Cratejoy has a process built in for this, right? Where it's they get an email sent to them basically once a day for 10 days, um, but uh, that's what I mean by failing cards. Declined cards or expired cards. I'll leave this up here for a couple more seconds. Just take a guess, even if you don't know. Just guess or just choose. Unsure. Just a few more seconds. Just need a couple more votes. And it looks like it's all, oh, there we go. Got a couple more people. There we go. Okay, let me share these with you. It looks like no one chose the failing cards option, so that was explained for no reason. But it's half of you are still just trying to figure it out, which is good. It's good that you're thinking that. And, with operational missteps, it's probably deals with shipping. If you guys want to, if you have any questions kind of around these for your curation choices and your operational missteps, please feel free to ask them. One last question for me. I promise this will be the last question from me. And I want to know, this is one or more, so you can select one or more of the following. So what have you done to prevent churn? Have you tried to improve customer service? Maybe that's using a platform. Maybe that was hiring somebody. Have you started using surveys or satisfaction questionnaires? Have you tried different box stuff? Have you tried better packing material? Maybe you use more tape. Maybe something like that, or nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this, and I'll share it with you guys. Looks like mostly no one's really tried anything yet, but some people have tried to improve in the box. Okay, so that was all my questions. Let's go through the rest of yours here. So, what tool can you use for a survey? So Max, hopefully we got that. That's probably been cleared up at this point. Wufoo, Typeform, or Google Survey. You can also use SurveyMonkey. So there's lots of different options there for you. When you offered your incentive on your landing page, how did you keep track of who would receive the discount and who didn't? When you receive, so let's see here. Let me see, Justin. I'm trying to look back at the landing page. How would you keep track of who would receive the discount and who didn't? Let me know. Is that in reference to like a pre-launch page, or was it this landing page here? The teaser landing page was just a teaser of the items. So people saw this and then they wanted to stay subscribed or resubscribe. When we're talking about oh, okay. So Justin says when you provide the incentive like 10% off, not in this webinar and the other one. I see. So Justin's referring to a pre-launch page. And on the pre-launch page, people drop in their emails, right? And they give you their emails before you launch your actual business. And that I kept track of that, Justin, because all of those emails got the discount. All of those people were pre-subscribers. So once they signed up, they were then granted the ability to use that founder discount. So I didn't have to keep track of who would receive the discount because I offered it to everybody. And then I used a coupon code that I tracked through Cratejoy, and I used that coupon code so I can see how many people are signing up and who was using that coupon code. And then I can make sure, for example, that those emails are matching up and that the founders are actually using the founder discount and that the code hasn't leaked. So I think that's answering your question. Let me know if it didn't quite answer your question. That's all the questions you guys have had for me so far. So it's right around 4 o'clock. Perfect, Justin. Happy you did. Thank you guys so much for attending today. I hope this was useful. At the end of this, you're going to be hit with an exit survey. Let me know how useful this information was for you. I hope you're walking away with some good stuff to get started on not only improving customer experience, but also proactive ways to address and reduce subscriber churn. Here's that action item reminder one more time for you. Please take a screenshot. Make a point to do these things. They will reduce your churn. And also make sure that on the right hand side in the handout section that you take a moment to download that churn infographic and check out some of the resources that we have on Subscription School. Again, this whole thing's been recorded. We'll get this live here in the next couple of days on our YouTube channel. And if you have any thoughts, any more questions you have, please check us out in that Facebook group and reach out to me or reach out to one of the admins. Let us know. We want to be more involved with you guys. We want to make sure that this content is useful for you and that it's actionable for you. So thanks again, everybody. You guys have a great rest of your day, and good luck battling that monthly subscriber churn. 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 Churn.